sit by you. Alright, I'll sit by you.
Dusty nearly got a kiss from Dee.
Only on Family Channel.
Goodbye, Trip. Okay. It's so hard. I can do that. Yeah, it's pretty hard though.
Ryan, I couldn't find your bottoms. What'd you do with them?
I don't know.
They moved everywhere. I couldn't find them.
Let's get out of here, Dee.
Kingdom
Well,
of Kingdom. The incredible epic
let's
set.
go.
Now comes the new Disney MGM Studios theme park.
Put it down. I'll go play.
Politics on Capitol Hill as President Bush.
And here's what my movie of Granny. Grandma?
Oh, nice storm, John Rochester, to kind of get rested. Like Max said, well, Mom, every time you come down here, you come sick, and then I have to doctor you up, and I get you
Well, she does, dude.
It's time for you to go back home.
She loves doctoring people up. Well, Grandma, Mom said that you were telling her about your relatives and everything's down there. About where they came from and everything.
I can't help you.
I said, Grandma, Mother said that you were telling her about your relatives whenever she was down there, about where they came from and everything.
What did she say?
About your relatives, where they came from. Where did your family come from?
Oh, way back on Papa's side. Well, they come to Scotland.
Oh, they
Papa's
did?
grandpa and grandma, and there's a possibility that his daddy was born in. I don't know whether they had any children when they lived in Scotland or not. But Papa, his daddy, and his daddy had a brother, and he had 3 sisters, and so I don't know what, all I knew, that they come to Scotland.
Who was the Indian? Mother said somebody was married to an Indian.
Huh?
Mother said that somebody was married to an Indian.
Oh, that was on Mama's side. Her grandma was a Cherokee Indian, and her grandpa, he was Irish. So that made her daddy Indian and Irish. And then Mama's mother was full-blood French. So that's 3, outfits.
Who was French?
Mama's mother, she was a full-blood French.
So your grandmother was French. Your grandmother. It'd be your grandmother?
Yeah.
And our, what?
Then
Great.
listen, your grandpa Stilley, his grandma, she was full-blood French. Your great-grandpa Stilley, which was your mama's grandpa Stilley, his mother was full-blood French. And Grandpa Stilley looked like one. Not your mama's grandpa.
Huh. Was he dark complected?
Yeah. But he said it. No, Uncle Will, they called him. The Stilley man, your grandpa Stilley, your mama's daddy, is grandpa. He must have been Irish or whatever he was, because Uncle Will, they called him, was Grandpa Stilley's brother, and he had kind of reddish-looking hair, and he kind of looked Irish. Now what he was, I don't know.
Well, see, Ryan's got that reddish-looking, red
Yeah.
stuff in his hair.
And with Grandpa Stilley's hair, just before it turned gray, it was just coal black. And he was Grandpa Stilley's daughter. And Louise, I think she's a little bit dark too. But when she was a baby, she was just real dark. And I think she's taking after Grandpa Stilley.
She does seem like she's darker than
But
the rest
Charles' mama looks just like your Grandpa Stilley.
Yeah.
You remember him?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Your mama was just like him. He was so crazy about your mama. I'd dress her up on Sunday and he'd load her up and take her to town, and he was so proud of her.
He liked me too. He always
Oh yeah, he did like her.
rocked.
Well, he loved Karen, but she's just a little baby,
Yeah.
Well, no, she could set it up,
I used to follow him around when we go down there. I'd follow him
Yeah.
in his garden.
Karen and your Grandpa Stilley would hold Peg, she's a little girl, and he'd be watching TV and she'd go to sleep.
Hey.
And I said, well, go lay her down, she can rest better. Oh no, I would rather hold her. And he'd just sit up there.
Yeah, I remember I used to like to
He just sat up there and watch TV and hold her. Sherry.
Yeah, that's it.
Sherry Junior's got down, well, he did see, he seen Kathy and Al. And, well, now maybe Karen could walk, because is Kathy older, is she older than you?
Yeah, Kathy's a year older than me.
Now, he might have seen Karen when she could
Well,
walk.
what,
He
how,
probably did.
what year did he die?
Oh, I don't know, he's been dead so long, I don't even remember now.
I was about 7. I think it was in '63, and you're about 7 years younger. So I think I was maybe more than 7 years old. I was about in 2nd grade.
Oh, I know the first time I seen Karen. Now, Karen, I don't know whether she could walk, but I think she just sitting alone. And it's first time, of course, I'd seen her, you know, when she was a tiny baby, because I'd, you know, come out the jail. But that's the first time he ever seen her. I remember he walked up and he said, she looks just like my mother. You know, her hair was blonde, you know, and so, well, of course, I never seen his mama, I didn't know.
Wonder she was blonde.
Yeah, they said her hair was a blondish red. That's what they said.
Well, you know, my hair is still lighter than everybody else. Yeah. I always try to figure out where Ryan gets that reddish hair.
You know, when Mac was growing up, her and Joe, their hair was dark, but they had, and especially Mac, she had this great big red streak, you know, all her hair. And probably she never married and had children, they might have been some.
See, I always thought one of my kids would have dark hair because of man.
Well, I just take it after.
Well, they might still though.
Well, I remember, well, your mama,
Maybe.
your mama was, she was great big, you know. Bill was a little thing, he could walk, but your mama was still just as blonde-headed as she could be.
Well, look at Aaron. Looks like blonde hair Aaron is. Yeah, but Lance is a lot darker hair than Deidre's is pretty blonde. Yeah, but wasn't your hair color that color?
Well, I don't think so. Mac, your mama was blonde-headed, Mac was blonde-headed.
I never was
Sonny
blonde.
was blonde-headed. Joe never was blonde-headed. And Louise never was blonde-headed.
Mother said I had the darkest hair of the 3 of us.
And some of my children was blonde, and some of them had dark hair, and their hair never was any other color. Well, Mac was great big too, and her hair was blonde. I know everybody said, oh, she looks so pretty, her hair was blonde, she had big old brown eyes.
Yeah, I think Deidre's hair color is pretty with her dark eyes. I wish it'd stay that way, but I know
If
it
you got
won't.
dark eyes that way and blind, you know, they really show up.
And her dark, real dark eyes.
I know that Karen's eyes are not blue, but she always appeared to have blue eyes. I don't know why. Well, you thought your mama's own one that was like a grandpa.
Yeah, but Mother has different colored eyes than the rest of the kids too, doesn't she?
Oh,
Does
yeah.
Sonny have brown eyes?
And one of the rest of them had brown eyes. And I wanted some of them to you know, be,
Have blue eyes?
yeah, but they wasn't.
Isn't that strange? Who has blue eyes? Do you,
Now, your
Grandma?
grandpa Stilley's eyes was a bluish, green, gray looking.
Well, what color are yours?
Mine's gray.
That's what I thought. It
Mine
has to
have faded since I got older. They used to be a deep gray.
be. Mother says that my eyes look just like, I always have eyes like what your eyes look like.
Yeah, when I'm
Yeah,
just.
she said my eyes look like yours.
Yeah. Well, and let's see what I started to. Oh yeah, my mother had blue eyes. Although there wasn't a deep blue, there was more blue than there was gray. And I always thought Mom was so pretty, and I just wish I could, you know, look like Mom when her hair was dark, and she didn't have to have permanent, you know, hair curled all over her head.
She had naturally curly hair? She had naturally curly hair?
Yeah, it was natural.
I don't know if I've ever seen a picture of her. Well, from the pictures I've seen of her, she looked
I
like she
can
was dark.
remember when Mom was, well, I had children when Mom was just in her 40s, and she was real pretty, and her hair was dark, you know, and it just curled all over it. One time she said, Mom always did her hair, you know, little buns. That was fashionable then, you know, just little buns with her. So, one day she said, I believe I'll get my hair cut. And I thought, well, Mama, my goodness, so you're gonna have your hair cut? So I got the scissors and I cut it.
Oh, my word.
She said, now don't tell your daddy when he comes home, and just see if he'll notice it. So that's the first thing. And Mama, she had her back turned doing something. And he punched me and pointed to Mama's hair. And he went on, he never did the same thing. And she kept eyeing him up. And while he was there, you know, thinking he'd say something. But he just laughed, you know, just at me where she couldn't hear it, you know. And he's pointing at her. And he just never let on to her, you know. It was kind of crazy.
How'd you cut her hair?
I was just whack. You can imagine. Well, I was a teenager. I got scissors cutting, probably just curl all over the head, you know.
Yeah, I guess with curly hair it didn't matter.
No. I used to wish I could, you know, my hair just curl all over my head. But when my brother was, he was a great big sized child, and his hair curled all over his head, but it was a blonde, you know.
Well, how
And cut the Sherry, at one time his hair was kind of red looking.
was it? Well, how did your parents meet, Grandma?
They went to school together. Well, they went to the same school, you know. And see, Grandma, when she was a widow, Papa's mother, she'd take her kids, she said widows didn't live by themselves. So she'd take her kids and went to Arkansas. They lived in Texas. And she went to Arkansas and she moved in a house with her mom and dad in. They had a bunch of kids. And then she had a brother and he come from Alabama. And his wife had died and he had 2 little girls. And Mama said that, I've heard Mama tell that a lot of times in life. She said, oh, I used to pass your daddy's grandmas, and she said, I just thought them people had more children than she ever seen in her life.
Oh, no.
She don't know how it went, you know. Of course, I guess she did, she got older.
Huh.
And my mama said, oh, your daddy, he was so smart when he was in school. She said he was the smartest one in school. Of course, I guess she just told that. Well, he might have been kind of smart, but I always figured she kind of made it sound, you know, the way she wanted it to. Because she
had a
well, I
crush
don't know
on
when she said after she growed up, she went with a lot of boys, you know. But I don't know when she started going to Papa.
Huh. Where'd they grow up at?
Huh?
Where did they grow up at?
Well, it was kind of in the edge of the Ozarks. It was in Arkansas. It was above Granny, so I don't know where it's the community, what it was. I guess it was. Though, you know, I just love to hear him. Why don't you turn that where you hear it? He may have gone off, but I'll let you, Dr. Red, do y'all hear it?
Plan for and talk about the whole experience.
First and foremost, the parents should get as much information from their physician, from the nurse that works with that physician, and any individuals that they can come into contact with at the hospital that they're going to be going to find out what will be happening during the course of their
That's not
hospitalization.
Red Duke, but he was on
Just
there.
what are some of the things that you ought to include on your list? Well, the tests that are going to be done, and how they're going to make the kids feel, what the room's going to look like, and what the visiting hours are, and of course, where you can go get more information.
Let the child know who is going to be there to be the emotional support and the help for them while they're in the hospital.
You know, one really helpful trick is to do
You know,
some
sure,
special
the doctor
packing
that-
for that
that I
trip to
goes
the
to
hospital.
for his
I put in the
Let's turn that
child's own pajamas, maybe his favorite blanket or pillow or
He is
stuffed
so
animal.
kind, you know. You can tell just how good he be, you know, to children. He ought to work with children. He thought maybe it does work with them, you know.
When you had Mother, did you have her home, Grandma?
Oh, yes, I did. I like to die. I took sick, let's see. I believe it was one night, and I was sick all night, and all next she was born late that evening. And an old woman, of course we had a doctor, of course, that she's born at home, and there's several women there, and
When does the doctor come when you're at home? How do you know when to go get the doctor?
well, you just know, you know, when you
I
get
mean,
sick, and you're
I know, but I mean, does he stay and stay and stay? till
Yes,
he's
it's studied, but then.
So they spend the night and everything, huh?
Yeah,
How funny.
and,
I
yeah,
guess you
well.
just fix the bed.
But Sherry, I'd had a lot easier time if I'd been in hospital. And anyway, so, the doctor said I was so close built, you know, she's like never been born. But hadn't have been, if I'd been in hospital, you know, they'd just, you know, it'd been different. But anyway, oh yeah, and this old lady, she said, oh, she had a lot of kids, and she's real old, And she said, oh, I just pushed and straightened her out. Said she was just crossways. And she might have been. Maybe that's why I was suffering so bad. She said, I just straightened her out and there.
See, they probably would have done a C-section on her these days. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I was lacerated when she was born, and the doctor just sewed me up, and I could feel it. It was like, well, of course, it was, you know, just numb, but that was, you know, still good. See, they didn't use medicine. They didn't, it was horrible. Oh, I
We think
that,
weird.
that was just horrible.
What about women that had to have C-sections? They didn't have
Sherry,
to.
I mean, Sherry.
God.
Yeah, Sherry. Listen, that's why a lot of women die.
Yeah.
I know it was.
Yeah.
See, they just.
And babies, the babies die.
See,
Yeah,
that's why
that's
Mama
right.
lost her first baby, you know. It was born dead. And, you know, Mama's sick, so.
See, nowadays they just take them. If they need to, they'll just do
Yeah.
C-section.
What was wrong with baby?
But as I went on to have it, when Ann was born, your daddy, your grandpa had gone to call the doctor. Then people didn't have telephones in their home. They had one down in town, you know, what you call, and the doctor he come out in Orangeville, and before he got there, let's see, there was Bobby Aldridge there, and Miss Bailey. That was two of my best friends. They was there, and I'd always have such a hard time, you know. Well, I was 6 a lot, and of course not as long as it was before your mama was born. But anyway, she just, in just a few minutes. Well, first, your grandpa was off at work, and he'd come in, and I just kept everything spotless. And I cooked dinner and supper together, you know, so the little ones could have something to eat. And I was sweeping off the porch. I don't know why. I don't think I do that now, but I wanted everything spotless. So Ann was bailed out. I went, well, I don't tell you your grandpa. And he carried me in, you know, and I said, oh, well, I was clean, but still, I always took a nap. And I said, oh, I want to get me a towel or something. I said, I want to lay myself off. And so he run as quick as he could to get out while he was home, just doing his after left. Well, he told his women they lived close by, and they was there, and they had she just born, and I didn't have but about 2 days.
My God.
Your friend has I told them that one time, and she said, oh my Lord, since here I've been talking about women having babies before the doctor got there. And I said, well, that's the way it was with you, because he come, you know, and when he got there, he come as quick as he could. And when he was first just going to get a no doctor to live there. But then he just, let's see, maybe he did have somebody tell one to come. But anyway, he decided he would call this doctor out of Ardmore. And when they all got there she was.
You were by yourself?
No, Bobby and Miss Bailey.
They were there.
And Miss Bailey had her up a bathing her.
Oh my word! God. I bet that was nice.
There's no doctor's eyes all around.
Oh, he was probably used to it, I bet.
But yet, what if I just suffered so bad? You know, doctors can do a little something. But there she was, you know, she just born right now.
What about Louise?
That was,
Did you have an easy time with Louise?
well, you don't ever have a real easy time, but anyway, it wasn't as hard, you know, the first one. But she was so tiny, you had to lay on her pillow, and the doctor said it was there. He come out, and you know, he said, I think it's going to be twins. Gosh, she's so little, but there was. But
Well, how much do you think
I
she
couldn't pick
weighed?
her up and have her. I had to lay her on the pillow and carry on her loop.
Ooh.
She was the tiniest little thing you ever seen.
How much do you think she weighed? How much do you think she weighed?
Well, it's either 4.5 pounds or 5 pounds. I always thought she was born premature because she was so tiny. And let's see, I was sick all the night when Bill was born. I really liked it. I liked to miscarry with Bill because one time he just comes to bombing up and down in all kinds of ways. And so I got real nervous and I just went and laid on the bed one Sunday and stayed there all day long. But he wasn't born then. He was born, you know, a little bit after that, you know, sometime after that. But when he was born, the doctor just snatched him up and unwrapped that cord that was around his neck.
Yeah, Ryan.
And you know, that killed him.
That's how Ryan's was. That's why they had 3 months.
And Well, I think he's gonna choke me on that. And the doctor acted like he was scared. You know, he just comes to unwind and that, you know, just quick as he could. And, now, let's see.
Sonny.
Well, yeah, I had a hard time with Sunday. It was the only time my mother was there.
Well, Grandma, did you ever have morning sickness when you first got pregnant? Any of your pregnancies, were you sick a lot at the very beginning?
I was when your mom was born.
That's
and
all?
I prayed and I just eat all, we'd even
Oh,
eat
you
pickles
got your
for breakfast. Your grandpa did whatever I did.
What?
He thought it's funny. I was some pickles for breakfast. He looked at me some pickles and he eat pickles. I said, if I come in, they think we lost our mind. And you know, it's one of the kids, and I believe it was before Mike was born. I can't remember that. But you know, I just prayed raw oats. And I would just eat them with a handful. And then I got afraid, you know, maybe they'd injure me and the baby. And I would just eat raw oats. I would get enough raw oats.
I liked rice. I liked rice when I was
And just before your mom was born, I couldn't stand older lemons. Ooh, I'd go to vomit every time I smelled them.
I know, I was sick with Deidre. Were you sick? Yes. I was sick with Deidre. No crying. Well, Grandma, when you lost Jackie, after he was born, were you sick very much with him when you were pregnant?
Yeah, you know, I don't know, I just had a feeling that he wouldn't leave. I don't know why. And it was worrying me. I'd think, well, no, why am I thinking that? You know, I had Peggy and she lived. And I guess I was just worried.
Yeah, but did he
And
just not act normal?
Sometimes I just think, well, you know, that maybe he won't live. And I wanted him to be a little boy, and he won't.
Was he sickly? Did he act sickly?
No, but some of them thought maybe his heart wasn't developed, you know, the doctor thing. Of course, if we'd taken the hospital, maybe we might have saved him. I worried myself to death a long time after he died. But, you know, he was, I guess, maybe he was destined not to live.
Yeah, God took
But
him for
because he
something.
was smart. He was a smart baby. And your mama, she had, your grandma sent her, she's always done her toys. And she'd send her little monkey, and you'd shake it, and his little legs would just jump around, you know, and your mama, she just thought his grandest thing. And she'd get up there, you know, and your mama couldn't talk plain. She'd get up there, and she'd get right over you, and he'd say, Dack the boy. You know, I told him it's a boy, and his name is Jackie, so she called him Dack the boy.
Well, how much older was she than him?
Well, she could walk and talk, not plain though, you know.
Well, how old was he when he died?
Well, he just lived 3 weeks, but he'd look around at things, you know, he acted real smart, you know. And so when she'd say Dr. Boy and shake the monkey, he'd just turn his head and look at her. And for a long time, she remembered him, you know.
Well, right before he died, did he just die suddenly, or did he get sick?
Well, no, he just got sick, and we had a doctor, and then this nurse, she come, and she said she thought too that, you know, something's wrong with his heart. That's something he died. Oh, it likes to be late. And you know, I even got left alone. I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
I think, why did you take my baby?
Yeah, that would be so hard.
And
Ooh, to have him 3 weeks.
And I
Seems
would
like it'd
take-
be easier if he died at birth than it would to have had him in 3
I
weeks.
know. And I'd take your mama, and she could walk a little bit, and I'd carry her after he was buried, you know, and I'd go almost every day to his grave. I just wanted to pray that it would like to kill me.
Well, how long was it after he died when you got pregnant with Matt?
Well, let's see. I think it'd just be about a year's difference, you know. I got pregnant right away because I wanted to. And I wanted a boy because Mike was, and then when Joe was born, of course I was proud of that. And then I was just scared to death every time Matt cried, I'd run as fast as I could, you know. I was afraid for the longest, I was afraid I'd lose her. And then when Joe was born, I wanted a boy. I was going to name him James and call him Jimmy. And then she was a girl. And I'm thinking, oh, why can't I have another boy? And then I had Sonny, you know, and oh, I was just thrilled beyond words. And then I think, oh, I wish I had another little boy. And you know, I had that. And then I didn't care what the others was, you know, but I told Rita not long ago, I said, well, I had 5 girls, and I said, and I've had 3 boys, and if I could have had 2 more, you know, and they could all live, you know, I said, I wish I could have 5 girls and 5 boys. And Rita said, you mean you wanted 10 children. I said, well, I wouldn't care.
Ooh, I would have gone crazy.
I was just thrilled because I had a bunch of kids. Of course, I did have to work then, not always thrilled, but I was strong, it didn't hurt me.
How'd you wash all those clothes?
And people say to me, you don't look like you had, you don't look like, I was traveling one time going to Grants Pass in Oregon, and I told a woman how many children I had, and we just got real friendly on the bus. No, before we got on the bus, but anyway. She said, oh my goodness, she said, I thought I was blind, I had one. And I said, oh, well, it didn't hurt then. I said, I just loved all my kids. Well, see, it was after Mama lost her first baby. Then, I just grew up with, just me and my brother. And I like 1 month being 5 years old when he was born. And so I just wish I had brothers, blood brothers and sisters. And I think what Mama said, she just almost died every time she had a baby. She just wouldn't have to go on. And and I was tickled when, Henry got to live with us. So, I see people with several children. I just wish that Mama had several children. So, yeah, Mama like to die. I think both times. I don't know about my brother. But anyway, she'd get sick, sure, and she couldn't do any work. I can remember. I would crawl in bed, Mama, and I'd go to sleep. And Mama had to have somebody to do her all the work, all the time she's pregnant, she wasn't, she'd say, well, of course, I didn't know anything about her condition. But I do remember, Mama couldn't do any work. And she'd just lay most of the time in the bed, but then she never went sick after she had all, had my brother, and Mama always did all the work. She's pregnant, she just didn't care. He's wondering why. Hey, one time, not long ago, I told Rita, I said, black little boy, he couldn't live. And I said, I could have 2 more. I said, I'd have 5 girls and 5 boys. And I said, I wish it could have happened. And she said, oh my goodness, do you wish you'd had 10 children? I said, I wouldn't care. I loved every one of them. Oh. But Grandma Stilley, did she have trouble with that? Well, she lost a lot of kids, for the boys before they moved from Arkansas. Then she had, let's see, who all was it? Did she just have your Uncle Frank when they lived in Dexter, Texas? Daisy and Pansy, and your daddy was born in Lansford. You're right where the schoolhouse is at today. That's where your daddy, the Stilleys lived, and your daddy said his little boy, he used to stand out in the yard and those old outlaws would rob banks and things. Going to what they call Hillsville, I didn't see it, but it's back over there, some of those mountains or something, I don't know. And your daddy said they'd just be shooting their guns up in the air, and his little boy, standing out there looking at them. They'd be riding horses.
Where did it was?
I don't know what they were calling out Bobby Creek.
Now, where was this at? Where was this at?
That's where the Mansfield School's at. That's where the students live.
Well, who lived in Dexter?
Well, the grandpa and grandma moved from Arkansas to Dexter. And
Dexter where?
Texas.
Dexter, Texas.
Where's Dexter?
Well, it's not far from Gainesville. Me and Bill and Mac one time, we decided we'd go to Dexter. Bill wanted to go, and so Peggy, there wasn't anything but some farmhouses around. But you could tell for old buildings, some of them still standing, some would be tore away, And when we got nearly there, there was no man's service station. Bill said, I think I'm on the right road, so I'll stop messing with me. And Bill asked old man, he said, I don't know where Dexter's at. And I said, from what I've heard, I think it's straight on. And sure enough it was.
It's like you didn't know.
Well, maybe he hadn't been up there always, I don't know.
Yeah.
But in fact, he was just slick and greasy and filthy, just had on pants and he was filthy looking. Well, I guess, maybe been greasing old cars or something. We didn't let him see it. We just fussed that like we seen the Dexter Cemetery. That's where, and Max found out where Aunt Emma lived, and she said where she lived at when she died. And Max said that the next time that Dylan, of course Dylan's always runs down and the girl runs back, she said that she would, she still got that paper, and that she would, we can see, you know, she's supposed to live in a big two-story house.
How did y'all find out, how did Maxine find out?
Yeah, she didn't kind of call. Mac found out just a few days one time before I went down. You know how papers will so many years back, you know, they'll have the news printed, and it said that so-and-so was visiting her sister-in-law, Emma Morris. And I think it's, told how many years way back, such a, and so.
I had forgotten about that.
Where did how Mac found it? Who is that?
Well, that was Dexter's out from, you know, it was a little community. You know, so it used to be pretty good size, you know.
Well, Aunt Emma lived at Gainesville, though.
Huh?
Aunt Emma lived at Gainesville, right?
Yeah, she lived, yeah. But it was some time back when she lived with an old man, she lived at Dexter.
Who is she?
That's where she met him
Was
at.
she Grandma Stilley's sister?
Yes,
Half-sister?
yeah. She said, Sister Nan said she'd taken care of me when my mother died, which was Grandma Stilley's stepmother, you know. And she said, she just like my mother. And she said when she married Alfred, she said, I just like to cry myself to death. And she said, my brother, which was Grandma Stilley's own brother. And he said, now you be nice to Alfred, said. And she said, well, I was just a little girl. I thought, well, I'd just be left by myself, you know. I guess it was just heartbreaking, you know, that she taken Grandma Stilley to take care of her, you know.
Was that the only sister Grandma had?
Grandma had some half sisters. Some of them lived on the what was it, Old Prairie, what was it?
7 Mile Prairie. 7 Mile Prairie.
Yes.
What was 7
But
Mile?
now she was dead. I never did see her.
That was the Bookouts, right?
Yes, that's the book out. And then they had, all these young book out men and women, well, that was their mother too. And then some of the younger ones, where you said you met one of them, that was the grandma's sister's half sister was her grandma. And anyway, Pat one time, I don't know that I've told you this now, one time called away and I answered it, that's where Bill was married. And so she said, is your name Stilley? And I said, yes. And she said, well, was you related to Daisy Stilley? And I said, well, that was my sister-in-law. And she said, well, one time my mother gave Daisy some antiques. And she said, we heard she died. Well, you know, some book out men come when Daisy died. And she said, I would love to have things. She said, do you know what become of them when she died? And I said, well, no, I don't. I said, some of the relatives took things off. And she said, well, how would I get in touch with any of them? Well, Pansy was
Nobody
dead
knows
then,
her
you know.
anything.
And I said, well, now I can give you one of Grandma Stilley's granddaughter, which was Tootsie, you know. And I said, she can, or her sister Lloyd can tell you what become of them, some of them. You know, the Princess got some, the said Pansy got some, and I don't know where it went to. And so she said, well, I'm in a hurry and I will call you back. Or she said, I may come see you someday. And said, we'll just talk. And I said, well, I told her about where I lived here in Vermont. I said, well, come in time to get ready. Well, I never heard from her anymore. And one time, Cutie Colson's brother, what was his name, Buck Colson, told Bill, said, well, I got a call from somebody said she was kin to the Stilleys. And said she thought my number was the Stilleys. And said, I told her no, that I wasn't no Stilley, that my name was Colson. And I guess it was that old woman got hold of the wrong number, you know. And I never did hear of her. I don't know what you got on.
Oh,
Who was she? You don't know who she was?
Yes, Grandma Stilley's half-sister was her grandma. This woman was called. Oh, she told what her name was, but I forgot what it was. But she kind of acted, you know, like she's disoriented, you know. She
That gold buttons and walls?
No, them old book outs.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
from
Peggy's
Mile
style.
Prairie.
somebody with
7 Mile Prairie.
I think it was between
There's
Manila and
nothing
Durant.
wrong with
I
that.
never knew exactly where it was, and I never knew,
Wonder why they called it that.
I guess it was 7 miles of prairie. I don't know.
Well, she's getting some of them book outs. You know, them old book out.
But I didn't know that the Mrs. Bookout was Grandma's sister.
Well, no, this one you knew it, well, I think it was book outs' niece, I mean. You know, the chief that you met. I guess those book out men died, I don't know.
Who else did they know? Get my kids in bed.
You don't like trying to be a mister.
Why?
Oh, I know. That coffee was hot when I first started sipping it, you know, and it kind of found it.
Burnt your tongue?
It was real hot. It's just kind of, you know, a little bit sore one.
Hey, boys.
And those who would late one of those real big book out women, she was real flat. She said, I can't stand her, but she gets a nice
Grandma, she wants to give you a hug.
they in.
She wants to give you a hug.
Okay. Because I won't get to see her till she comes to see me. I think about you all the time. You know, it's a shame down here to see some of his grandkids and know this ever will. I talked to a little Chris, you know, Christopher. Not long ago, and he's got the sweetest little voice.
He sounds like a real smart
It's
little
Peggy's
boy.
little boy.
Uh-huh.
I guess y'all heard about her, his daddy telling him, you know, who his own mama was. And they said, so last time Sonny talked to me, it's Mother's Day, he said, oh, said Peggy and her husband said they come and said Peggy went by and got to Christopher and says he just won't hardly leave her, said he just hugged her and kissed her.
Isn't it?
And she smoked, said she's a heavy smoker. And said she just as thin. And said, he said, Mama, he said, you quit that smoking cigarettes. He said, it's bad for your health. And says you go to eating food. You know, the baby.
Well, it's weird that he feels as close to her as he does.
Well, how come his daddy did it? See, the laws that told you know, that he must, Sonny must abide, you know, and not tell him his mother was. They wanted his own stepmother, and she got it left, you know. And they said, he said to his dad, he said, why did Mama take the baby and wouldn't take me? And he just told him, said, well, she's not your mother.
Oh,
And
he
said
didn't know? He thought that, all that time he thought that was his mama?
Yes, that was his stepmother. And he said, oh, she's not your mother. Said, your mother's name Peggy, said she's Grandpa Stilley's daughter. And said, he said, Daddy, don't say anymore. Since my head's going around, I got to sit down. Wasn't that awful? They say he just like a little man, you know. And so his daddy took him to Riverside to see his mom and said they sat up around talking. He wouldn't hardly get out of his mama's lap. And said they just talked on and on and on. And said, he said, Mama said, why don't you come in? We're Grandpa said, why see you every day. Isn't that awful? And Sonny told me on the phone, said, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't want to go live with Peggy. That he, you know, her husband was out there hard. And Sonny told me, well, I said, I don't know ever. That, and he's protecting him. See, his daddy has to get him ready to go to school. Of course, now Sonny, you know, goes and gets him. And Sonny, one time, he said to Sonny, poor down after his mama was, he said, Grandpa, he said, who is my mama? And he was in doubt that was, you know, for a long time. And he said, well, so when you get older, I'm going to tell you. And said, he said, all right, Grandpa. And I said, Sonny, something
sad
I
not to know
you
his mama
And
was-
his daddy promised Sonny, said, well, sometime I'll tell you that Peggy's his mama. And I said, Sonny, I said, I don't care what the law said. I said, I would tell that child who his mother was. I said, I wouldn't care if I got into it. And I said, something might happen to you and good. And he'd never know who his own mama was. But his daddy took him down there, you know. Well, his own daddy told Sonny one time, that's why he's living his second wife, said, I love Peggy, and I always thought that, you know, we could get together and live.
Well, they're telling ghost stories.
Well, don't listen to ghost stories.
Yeah, I tried to get it to stop.
You can tell him some ghost stories.
Okay.
Ask Grandma, she knows some ghost stories.
I bet you don't ever get in trouble, does he?
Oh, every once in a while.
He just seems like he's just quiet.
Yeah, I see.
What's he laughing about?
He scared the other kids.
Yeah, they told me a ghost story. I never told me
Well,
scared.
Levi was showing that he was just scared. I don't know why he didn't know, did I? Dustin, usually Dustin, it does scare him that, Sean, when he was, before he wrote it, he believed everything, second wheels and stuff, all kinds of ghost tales, and scared, and kids almost went to sleep like that. I said, that is not right, and you stop it. I don't believe in scaring kids.
Poor little boy.
And one time he called me up for Sean did, and he said, you remember what you told me the other day? And he said, and I don't believe a word of it. I guess somebody, had told us that the bill was, it wasn't the truth. And he said, no, I just don't know what to believe. Of course, I'm sure that the rest is so big now, he don't believe it. But I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to make some bill sometime in the daytime when several people go with us. You see a place that used to be, when travelers went through the country, they stopped at this old place called the Inn. It's kind of like a little hotel or motel or something. And of course, Bill said there's no building there. And a lot of people would get fights and was killed. And they said there's ghosts. You can see ghosts if you go there at night. So one time, Frank James and I believe it was two of them, they went there one night with their guns. The way too dark. And so they take the flashlights and went there. And they said that pretty soon they got out. And they couldn't hear a thing. They said that was something come just like men are running, through the grass. And said that they tried to contact him and they couldn't hear a sound. And they shot the guns up in the air. And they said it just kept running. And they said finally they got scared. They got the car and that. They said it just seemed like, right there where this old motel thing was at, And said that several people had heard. They'd go there, they'd hear people running. And said that they said it sounded just like somebody was there walking. But they said it wasn't. They knew it wasn't a human. I looked at that later. I hope ghosts don't ever get in contact with me. I don't want to. But one time I saw y'all like that answer. I thought, well, of course, she always leaves alone. I'm not doing anything to the ghost. And if they hear them, I'm trying to say something to them. But the more I thought about it, it scared right off. And then I began to think, well, I want to, and if I just happened to wake up and hear any kind of noise, I couldn't hardly go back to sleep. Now,
I don't know how she can stay down.
Sherry, a long time ago, and that's before Anna ever saw a ghost, or any of them had ever. And that was before I had a hip surgery. And there's all at work, and I was in the boys in school, and I'd lay there on the bed, and I just sit there so long as in the house. And I'd think, oh, well, as late as I am, I don't think, I know there's no one in the house, or the door is fastened up. But then after a while, it just seemed like I could feel the presence of it. And so I never told anybody till that was out before Mother's Day. And sick bread and Eric after it. So Bill said, y'all haven't seen more ghosts, honey. And Brett spoke up and said, well, Mother has, said she saw a man. And that Brett said, I never have, but he said, I just said, I always said, ever since when we first moved in, I said, I would just feel the presence of somebody in my room. And he said, that's why I've heard any ghosts. And I just spoke up and said, well, Brett, I was just like you. When I first ever went there, no one ever lived there with them. And you could kind of see why it might be ghosts if someone had died there, or something. And I said, Brett, I felt the same way. I said, that I would just dismiss it because I think that's really, I mean, then, you know, Jackie, I'd seem like that I just feel the pressure. And I told you, I just like all that stuff. You know, I just felt the pressure so strong. And don't you guess it was supposed to be?
Yeah.
I don't know. And you know, I was just thinking all over after I got to hearing Dr. Josie. Well, I believe, well, I kind of believe then when she told it, that after Bill said it, you know, he swore it down. And Ann said, well, I said, I was satisfied with what little I seen it, that it was a woman. And she said, I felt like it was an old woman. Would you be afraid it was a man? Bill said, now I think, I don't know, maybe I looked at, when I got the car or something, anyway, they've been carrying things out. And, Eric, well, I had heard about it before Ann had seen one, that Brett, Eric had said, he woke up one night and seen something, you know, sitting on a, said object, and I think he got a little scared. That's before Ann ever seen the ghost. And Ann said, first, hot water up, the dog, you know, was sticking to the bed, and said if you patted the dog on the head, he'd always get up, you know, and shake. And, you know, he's got the little things on, you know, on his collar, you know, the jingle. And she said, well, they just, you know, it's come through that never seen that again. And she said, when she looks at that was here. And so the two, and she said, then it just went up like smoke, and then that's what Bill said. Well, Bill said we turned the light on, but it just, Bill said, shh, we just look at clouds, and it just He is a sweet doggy, and he does so much to try to catch a ground squirrel or something, till he just wore himself out. He was just digging and digging